The difference that I think I'm pointing out with Trump is that he is not only not trying to prevent it, he's like actively accelerating it. I've never seen a president like basically try to force us into a recession. I'm always hopeful, but that speech to me felt like a whole lot of nothing, whole lot of pandering, whole lot of one-off stories, a lot of playing to the cameras, and really short on anything substantive. And the thing about the economy seemed like a huge deflection. It basically said, like, I mean, there was one line that was like, there might be a little bit of a bumpy ride on the way. You know? Like, these tariffs are going to make everything great. It might seem a little, and it's like, that's people's lives, bro. I mean, that's, you know, yeah, bear with us, bear with us. I saw a tweet today. It was like, people think of recession, they think of it's like a political talking point. You know, it's like something you say, and it's like, it sounds bad, but it doesn't mean anything. It's like, it's a real thing that, you know, people lose their jobs. People's 401ks evaporate. People have no money. If you graduate or try to find a job during a recession, your entire lifetime earnings are affected. It's a real fucking thing. It's disastrous. So I just think he's a little cavalier with it. It's the biggest issue of our time right now. And he's talking about it like it's like, not even that it's not going to happen, but like that'll be worth it. They're almost inducing it. It's the first like presidentially induced recession. And then the deficit stuff, man, I don't know how else to tell you this, but that's all bullshit. The tax cuts alone have just ballooned our deficit. Ballooned it. And by the way, the deficit was horrendous under Joe Biden. It's one of the things I was most critical about. Horrendous. And he's increasing it. All the talk about Doge, the deficit's going up. I'm not saying I agree with this, but I've heard it said that recessions are a natural correction and you can't have infinite growth forever. That's an opportunity for middle class, not lower class people to acquire assets. Do you agree with that or not? I agree with it in the sense that if you try to prevent a recession from ever happening, there's a natural business cycle, right? Where people overinvest in one thing and then you have to clear out the chaff. But we've stopped any significant downturn for so long. The economy's so propped up. It's now much bigger. The problem is much bigger. The everything bubble is much bigger. So what we're facing is more severe than a minor recession every 2 years or whatever. Let me try and be clear about what I'm saying here. I have many videos, even during Biden's administration, where I said our economy is weaker than it appears, where we clearly have some regular people struggling. We're clearly headed on a bad path. The private sector is not creating any new jobs. We're largely propped up by government spending. The difference that I think I'm pointing out with Trump is that he is not only not trying to prevent it, he's like actively accelerating it. I've never seen a president like basically try to force us into a recession. And there's a difference, right? Because the last time we had a truly great depression, 1929, is right after we enacted the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which is the last time we've had any significant tariffs in America. And it created this big reciprocal trade war right at the time when the economy was already decelerating. And we ended up with a really fucking bad disaster, an economic disaster, right? And so there's reason many people are so against tariffs and to start these massive trade wars left, right, and center, like which is willy-nilly. I mean, we're doing trade wars in every direction at the exact same time as the regular economy is already really slow. It's slowing down dramatically. I mean, we're getting these big downward revisions to GDP, to job numbers, to, increase in defaults. So, all this is happening amid the backdrop of what seems to be the largest trade war in any of our lifetimes. And it's not good. It's throwing kerosene on a fire. Largely agree with you, but to say that the tariffs are responsible for the 1929 recession is a gross misunderstanding of currency. It's not what I said at all, believe Loopy. I'm sure you're aware of that because you heard me just say it. I said it was kerosene on the fire. I literally just said we already have a slowing economy and then we're throwing tariffs on it. It's literally, I just fucking said, Bleepy Bloopy. Feels like you're just trying to fucking grandstand. You're a kindness. Bro, I got so many dumbass people lately, bro. It's hard. It's getting harder to be you're a kindness. I got a lot of people trying to make their fucking point, and it doesn't matter what I say. They just want to but I'll try. We got new viewers in here. As a non-American, I'm curious if you think on a long enough time scale, 5-10 years, the change of Trump's program will work. The only one that I think has serious merit is the idea that over the past 20, 30 years, basically since the introduction of China into the WTO in 2001, 2, almost all of global manufacturing is shifted to China. It's like over 55% of global manufacturing is in China. So a small but steadily increasing tariff on Chinese manufacturing so that we can start to onshore or friendshore shipbuilding, EV manufacturing, things like that. I can see the point of that. I can see, but America cannot make everything. And a ad hoc, random, willy-nilly trade war on all of our allies at the same time as we try to put pressure on China is insane. It's fucking insane. We have no friends. We have no fucking friends. It's crazy. By the way, if you were a country like America that is facing a new rising geopolitical rival like China that is essentially attempting to take all the slice of the pie of global manufacturing, it would be nice to have strong ties with Canada, Mexico, Europe, Brazil, anyone to sort of, South Korea, Japan, to make a concerted effort to sort of have the same tariffs. You know, for a while, the EU was copying our tariff strategy on China. So it's like a concerted effort. So you can get the manufacturing friendshored. We're not doing that now. We're attacking all of them too. It's silly. It's insane. Is Trump scaring the hoes? Yeah, he's scaring the hoes. That's the... People like my dad never thought Trump would do tariffs in 24, right before the election, right after the election. No one other than fairly stupid partisans on the left think Trump is truly going to implement 20% tariffs and everything across the board. It's like, bro, he just did. It's 25% though. I guess you're right about that. It wasn't 20, it was 25. They may be gone tomorrow. I don't know. It's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. I don't know if you guys know this about business. Generally, they like stability. Generally, they want to invest in countries where there's some sort of stable order of business, rule of law. You don't have to change your whole projections for the year on the random whims of the president. That's been a big advantage to America. And then there's this talk about leaving NATO and the UN. I just want Americans to understand, like, the reason like a Buc-ee's manager in Texas can make more than a doctor in Europe is not because he's infinitely more talented or skilled. Okay, America's at the center of this fucking imperial core where we get a lot of advantages from having the reserve currency, from being at the top of all of these systems we created post-World War II. The salaries here are higher for that reason. We have our own economic problems, don't get me wrong, but we experience a lot of benefits from this system that we set up. What is the actual solution to our economy's issue to put us in recession? Here's the thing. When we've been inflating this everything bubble for so many years and years and years and years, and every single possible minor recession has been backstopped, every bank has been bailed out, there's not a great answer. It's not like a perfect solution. But I can tell you that barreling headfirst into it while alienating every ally and throwing up trade wars is probably not the way to go about it. Obviously, there's been some overvaluation. Are we just trying to get out of the national debt? Inflation can get us out of the national debt if you were trying to do that, but that ruins everybody's life. But a recession does not get you out of the national debt. Recession makes it worse. Tax receipts go way down. In a recession, the US government struggles to pay its own bills. We have to borrow more usually during a recession. Can you see a point where Trump's economic policy actually turns on the direction of the economy? Let me be very direct and clear, is that I do not see that happening with what he's doing now. Like I'm being direct in that my own, regardless of who did it, if fucking, I don't know, Great Caesar's ghost came out and did it, I would tell you that I think this strategy of indiscriminate tariffs, unstable business environment, into a already decreasing private sector is going to be deeply painful. And the idea of a crypto strategic reserve on top of it is just, makes me want to vomit, dude. Makes me want to fucking throw up. If we enter a major recession under Trump, what do you think he'll say? I think he gave a preview of it today in the speech. He basically said the Biden economy is the worst economy ever. We're still reeling from it. I think they're trying to make it happen as fast as possible, so that hopefully the worst of it is over by the time 4 years rolls around. I think that's the only explanation I can see for like, these are designed to like speed up recession. That's legitimately what some of these policies are. They're designed to speed it up, which is like maybe a political strategy because the idea is like it's going to happen regardless. And I do believe that. I said that in the Slowly All Once video. I do believe the way the private sector unemployment was falling, the way revisions kept trending down, and we were headed for recession either way. But now it feels like he's trying to speed it up. When exactly does a country declare a recession? 2 quarters of negative economic growth is like the definition. This Q1 just got revised down from growing by 4% to negative, what, 2.7 or something? Which is exactly, by the way, go watch that Big A clip where I responded to the slowly all at once Reddit post. I think I said this exact thing. I literally showed examples in previous history of GDP getting revised down into recessions. I said this is exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, the jobs revision was down 600K jobs. So that Q1 into Q2 would be a recession. People were already nominating Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I nominated him. Can you imagine what a fire off the wall prediction that would be? If I got that right, I stuffed the ballot box, bro. This would be crazy. This would be fucking generational. People are throwing their prediction of stagflation. Well, here's the deal. I don't think we would get stagflation without the tariffs. But, you know, because when you enter a recession, prices do go down. Housing prices drop, asset prices drop, generally everything, because nobody has any money. It's not a good thing. It's bad, but generally things drop. But if we were to get stagnant growth and inflation, it would be because the tariffs are driving up the price of goods at the same time as our economy's crashing. It would be the absolute worst of all worlds. Stagflation would be the worst of all worlds. I'm not going to make a hard prediction, but I'm just saying the thing that would cause that would be tariffs. But I can't tell whether or not any of these tariffs are actually going to stay in place. It feels like he wants them, and then something bad happens and he doesn't want them. The market goes down, he pulls them away. Puts them in, pulls them away. Puts them in, pulls them away. Goes with Canada, says we won. We got our fentanyl czar. And then now they're back. And now they're going to be gone again. It's crazy. It's not a stable environment for businesses to fucking set up. You can't be edging every fucking consumer and business in America every month. Or if you're going to do that, do it literally. That'd be a great campaign promise. Go and edge everybody. That would at least be a positive benefit. At some point, they need to bust. You can't edge everybody every month, Trump. At some point, they have to bust. Trudeau is so funny. Trudeau was like in political freefall. Probably as low as I've seen a major politician get in any major like Western country. Trudeau was like, had like 3/4 of the country chanting fuck Trudeau. And then this Trump thing kind of saved him. All he's been doing ever since is being like, we're Canada and we stand up for Canadian values, Mr. Trump. And it's been working. People are fucking rallying behind him. It's been the biggest like polling turnaround. It's like got every Canadian united. And Trudeau keeps scoring political wins by being like, Mr. Trump, I love Americans, but what you're doing is stupid. We've been allies and friends forever. You know, he's doing these kind of speeches and they're hitting because they make sense to people. The average person, I think, in Canada or America doesn't want to be enemies. I don't think the average American wants to annex Canada, our closest ally. I guess militarily, because they're certainly not going to fucking... The way Trump keeps talking about it is like Canada's going to voluntarily be like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. 51st state, eh? And fucking sign up for it. They're not going to do that. So either you plan to militarily invade our closest ally, who is now possibly in a nuclear pact with the UK. Imagine a world where the UK has to threaten to nuke America if America invades Canada. How do we get here? How do we get here? That's crazy. It's been 2 months. Biden, worst economy. Are you kidding? Several thousand up in crypto and stocks. Inflation was dipping. Explain that. I did. I have a great video on it. I'd love you to watch. It's called Slowly All at Once. Basically about the disconnect between asset prices, which help the top of the K-shaped economy, and regular people who are slowly seeing job opportunities disappear and erode. Yes, you could say unemployment was low, but it was not in high-quality jobs. Defaults were rising. We were setting up in a bad spot, but what Trump's doing is throwing gas in the fire and making it far worse. If a recession happens, won't people impeach Trump? I don't think impeach. I think zero shot of that. The most regular, normal course of action would be these policies don't work. They make people's lives worse. Materially, economically, they make them worse, and then people vote them out. There's a big midterm sweep. I'm just saying, it's not like this has never happened in American history. It's happened a million times. We have massive midterm swings one way or the other all the time in American history. So I think that would be the most normal outcome. Hitler couldn't move forward with the Jew stuff until he fixed it. The way you phrase this is crazy. Calling the Holocaust the Jew stuff. However, it's funny. Your message does bring up a really good point. Yeah, it's really funny because if you look at how the circumstances worked for Hitler, I'm not saying Trump equals Hitler. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm just saying for Hitler, he came into power right at the end of the big Great Depression in Germany and, through a little luck, through a little pluck, presided over a growing economy. Now, a lot of that, they were like borrowing against the future. And I don't want to go too deep into the economics of fucking Nazi Germany, but they had good years at the beginning. And so they gained a lot of trust. They went from when Hitler first came to power, they had 30% of the seats, 35% in the Bundestag, Reichstag at the time. But then the economy got better, and then he invades Poland, wins easily. So everyone's like, oh, this guy's the GOAT. Then he invades France, the country that kind of put their boot on the neck in World War I. Wins easily. Everyone's like, he's kind of the GOAT. And then he led the country to ruin. Destroyed the economy, lost the war, mass genocide, okay? Do you understand? It's like that. This process made people get more and more trusting in him so that he was able to lead them to ruin without losing his power. If he had opened with immediately setting off a depression, he wouldn't have the chance to do any of that. And so it just seems like, regardless of, I'm not making an equivalency. I'm just saying any authoritarian leader coming to power, if he's coming into power and immediately get a recession, people are just not going to trust him. When do you think Republicans will sort of jump ship on Trump, if ever? Some of them never will. There's diehards in politics, regardless. Some people have built their whole identity around it. They're not going to shift easily. But there's plenty of people that shift all the time. America's full of them. There's a shocking number of millions of people who voted Obama and then voted Trump. You know what I'm saying? People shift all the time. And I think the main way for the average person is when their 401k takes a fucking nosedive. I'm just being real. I think when people check their 401k and it's fucking truly down, they're going to have some fucking words. That or if you lose your job. Those are probably the big two things that'll hurt a regular person to be like considering a different opinion. Or if for whatever reason, Luka Doncic leaves the Lakers. Because then I'll lose my mind, dude. I'm all in. I'm so fucking pot committed. If Luka left, I don't know what I'd do.